Hey, good morning, Huntsville. Welcome in to another episode of Good Morning Huntsville. Justin, good to have you in, by the way. Good to see you, man. Justin Killingsworth joining me from the Color Bar. He is our Thursday co-host. We got a great show lined up today. It is like all Cinco de Mayo. I forgot to, get the room decorated, but it is going to be an exciting morning here as we have two very amazing guests that will be joining us, and we'll bring them on here in just a little bit. Dr. Ann Petron from Sam Houston State University is going to update us on some events that are happening coming up around Cinco de Mayo, the Saturday right thereafter, and then, of course, Dr. Castillo Crimm from Historic Tours of Texas. She is going to give us a history lesson today on Cinco de Mayo. So this is a very important show. We always like to bring up the good in our community and highlight all the great things that are happening. And again, two very awesome ladies joining us this morning. I'm excited. I'm already ready to party.
Me too. I could listen to Dr. Crimm forever.
I could. And Dr. Petron came in this morning, and she is just a wealth of knowledge and doing a great job at Sam Houston State University. Dr. Crimm was there, too. So this is like a Bearcat reunion in here.
Yes.
Did you go to Sam?
I did not.
Okay, you and I didn't, so I guess we're 50-50 this morning. But, hey, I want to welcome you in. Thanks for joining us. As always, we are broadcasting in our beautiful studio downtown here off the square, right next to the gallery. Paul Oley, go by and see our good friend Paul for all your photography and custom framing needs. He will take excellent care of you. And our studio, as always, is sponsored by our great friends at Elliott's Jewelers, Mr. Elliott Herzlich. We wouldn't be here without Elliott, and so we appreciate his support as well. And we wouldn't be here without Justin and the Color Bar, one of our Foundation 5 sponsors, helping to make the foundation. You got to have a foundation.
Got to have
a
strong foundation, and a strong one though.
Yeah,
and it has to be strong.
It does. It has to be. You're right. Because anybody can say, we got a foundation, but if you don't,
well, if it's made of sand,
you're just gonna wash away. So, want to welcome you again. Let us know you're out there. We'd love to hear from you this morning. Super simple. All you got to do is send those comments there on the chat box, whether you're on Facebook or across the YouTube platforms. And hey, do us a favor. Hit the subscribe button if you're coming through on YouTube. And if you're on Facebook, make sure that you go to Hello Huntsville and click the like button. Justin, been a lot of fun over the past couple of weeks. We've had a lot of great guests on, and two more lined up today. But before we really dig into that, what have you been up to? How are things going?
Just living life, recovering.
Living life, recovering.
Yes.
I know, and not recovering like bad. You were
just down a couple days. I was sick.
Yeah, he was down for a little bit. So recovering in that way.
Well, when we put on this huge event and party downtown Huntsville, I guess it caught up with me.
I got to give a shout out too this morning to Justin again. Justin Killingsworth of the Color Bar joining us as our Thursday co-host. Things are starting to light up in here. Every morning we add one new thing. And so yesterday I added a little sticker on the window so people knew where we were at. And then you were gracious enough to donate a couple of studio lights to us.
Absolutely.
So we're just slowly, little by little, building. And I did want to mention something, too, this morning. Maybe you've got an idea to start a business. We always try to bring a little inspiration to the show as well. So maybe you've been thinking for a long time. And yesterday I talked about don't get up and quit your job, but you do need to pursue your passion in life.
Absolutely.
But maybe this morning you needed to hear somebody say, hey, it's time to take that leap of faith and start that business. If you've got an idea, don't wait. Get out there and make things happen. And just focus on what you do. Dr. Crimm's a walking testimony of that. After she retired from Sam Houston State, she started Historic Tours of Texas and has a very successful touring business. And so we're talking a little bit about that this morning too. But before we came on, you and I were talking about just, you can start, but you don't have to have a huge bank account to start a business. And, you were fortunate and blessed to start the Color Bar you didn't have to put in $100,000 to start your business.
I started the Color Bar with about $15,000.
And so that's amazing. You're talking about like a brick and mortar storefront
and went in
property.
debt-free.
Went in debt-free. This is like a Shark Tank story,
yeah.
Man. Went in debt-free, brick and mortar store, and $15K. That doesn't happen for a salon.
No, it does not.
So just, if you got an idea, you'll find ways.
You remember what I said last Thursday, if you don't do it, you won't know.
That's right. And those T-shirts are coming, by the way.
Good.
So
it's a great motto.
A lot of folks already chiming in this morning. And, again, if you're coming through, I see many of them through the Facebook group on Huntsville, Texas News and Events saying good morning. A couple of folks there chiming in. Justin, when we go to break, maybe we'll have to go actually look at that page because I can't see the names of people that come through on the
we'll
group.
Have to figure that out.
So that's just
that way we can give those people shout outs.
Yeah, we want to give them a shout out. So We will step aside here in just a moment, but again, let us know what you're thankful for this morning. We always want to lift you up and encourage you here on the show. So whatever you're going through today, know that there's somebody out there to lift you up in our community. Let us know what you're thankful for, and we're going to get rolling. But yeah, sit back, relax, enjoy. It is Cinco de Mayo here on the show today, and we are going to have a fun one. We'll be back in a moment. Stay with us. A lot more to come here as we continue on Good Morning Huntsville.
Welcome to the Tomorrow's Promise Montessori School's Run With Your Imagination 5K Color Run benefiting Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. Get ready to enjoy a colorful day filled with fun, bubbles, and music with our honorary color thrower, Dr. Scott Shepard, Superintendent of Huntsville ISD. We'd like to take a moment to thank our incredible sponsors for making this event possible. A big shout out to our title sponsor, Sprinter Level Elliott's Jewelers. Your generous support truly makes a difference. Our runner level sponsor, Tom Foolery, thank you for stepping up and supporting our cause. A huge thank you to our jogger level sponsors, Ace Hardware, DSW Construction, Snap Fitness, The Color Bar, Walker County Title, Wiesner, and Tap Truck Bonnie's Hideout. Your contributions keep us running.
Dr. Crimm, if you know anything, running a business, finances fluctuate.
Hey, good morning, Huntsville. Welcome back into another episode of Good Morning Huntsville here on a Thursday, and we are excited to bring you some great news and events that are happening throughout our community. I got to get adjusted here, Justin. Man, that's what it is. It's your phone. I heard some popping through the headset there.
Sorry.
Welcome back in.
Trying
Good to see
find
you.
out who's commenting.
That's right, and we will know now that we're on the Huntsville, Texas News and Events group. We've got it going there. But what a pleasure today. Now joined by Dr. Ann Petron from Sam Houston State University. It's good to have you here. You and I were talking. I said, I came back from Fargo. You grew up in Wisconsin.
I did grow up in Wisconsin.
And happy to be here in Texas, I would imagine.
I've been in Texas since 1998. I did my PhD at UT. I lived in Laredo for a while after that, but then I came to Sam because of the education program.
Yeah, and excited about that because you have brought just a wealth of knowledge, a PhD, of course, and I've been very involved here at Sam Houston State University, and you know this community better than any. You've been here a long time, and so many great things that happen. I don't want to jump right into the event that's coming up because that's what we brought you here to talk about, the Cinco de Mayo event brought to you there. And I know folks like the LULAC organization is helping to make that possible, and WCU.
Absolutely.
We'll dig into that here in a little bit. But before we jump into the event, how did the journey, I know Sam Houston State known for teaching, but how did that journey really happen from Wisconsin to UT and then to Sam Houston?
Oh, I ran from Wisconsin when I was 18.
Were you a Packers fan?
Oh, you have to be a Packers fan. You have to be. No, you do when you're growing up, you do. But no, my family is still all back in Wisconsin. But I left to get a teaching job in New Mexico, and New Mexico, then Arizona, and then I got my PhD in Texas, and I stayed in Texas.
Did you become a Longhorn during any of that transition?
Because I'm not from Texas, I never got that. I mean, I never understood that, and I never went to a football game.
Here's the real question. Have you been baptized as a Texan?
No.
Oh, well, we'll have to get you next March.
Okay.
Hey, I should know this. What is that?
Baptize a Texan. So
What do you
our
do?
tourism department puts on Baptize a Texan. I think it's March 2nd.
Okay.
3rd.
I thought when he said that, like we were going to have to ride a bull or something, Dr. Patron, and like be in a rodeo. I mean, that would be a terrible
Hey, that
way.
would be a sight to see.
I was thinking getting dunked.
Yeah.
No. They host it every year at the March to the Grave. Yes.
March to the Grave. Awesome.
So it's a really cool thing.
Well, again,
more
Dr.
great events in Huntsville.
More great events happening. Again, joined this morning by Dr. Mary Petron from Sam Houston State University. Big event coming up, and I wanted you to highlight this. I mentioned earlier LULAC and WCU. Kind of talk about those organizations. Been doing this since 2011, I believe.
That is correct. And we started out really small. I mean, I can talk more about Walker County Unidos just because I am a member of that. But we started in 2011, and then our first Cinco de Mayo was in 2012. So it's just kind of grown from there. And our whole idea of doing it is just really to bring the entire community together. Because, everyone seems to live in their little separate worlds. And so it's a way to highlight the Latino population that is growing in Huntsville a lot. Good food, good fun, dances, music, and it's a pretty diverse crowd that comes to Cinco de Mayo.
Again, we're talking to Dr. Mary Petron this morning here on Good Morning Huntsville. Thanks for joining us. Keep those comments coming on, and we'll highlight those here in a little bit. But, Cinco de Mayo is the event coming up. It's going to be on Saturday, though, May the 6th. So a day kind of after the actual Cinco de Mayo, but it's better to have it on that Saturday at Rather Park. Highlight the event for us.
Yeah, sure. Cinco de Mayo, despite the date, is on the 6 de Mayo, the 6th of May, but it's always in the first weekend in May, the first Saturday, because, you can't really have a party without in town without it being a weekend.
Sure,
right?
yeah, you got to have that time for family and everything.
And so it started. Really, it was to bring the community together, but we also raise money. LULAC and Walker County Unidos, we raise scholarship money for students in Walker County.
Can you give us a little more details and background just with WCU, with Walker County Unidos, and just enlighten us and educate us a little bit on that organization?
Well, I got involved. I'm with Nelson Amaya. I know Nelson Amaya is a friend of mine. I met him when I needed to get my car fixed. No, I was on the soccer league. And he, just kind of brought me in. We formed this organization, and it's not, our whole purpose really is to bring the community together. Bring the community in terms of our, highlighting also, I think, Latino culture. Because, again, I think people live in their separate little silos. And so being able to bring everyone together is a really good thing. And who doesn't like food?
Right.
Dancing and, my kids volunteer every year. Well, get voluntold.
Yeah, voluntold.
Every year. But it really is a great time. And I wish I didn't. We've given away, I don't even know how many thousands of dollars in scholarships. And we have the ceremony where they come here and they're on stage. So they get their moment of fame. And there's a whole program as to, at this hour, there's dancing. I'm not in charge of programming, can you tell? But this, there's a whole program of dancing. There you go. There's the scholarship recipients.
Yeah, I was showing there. If folks will go to the Facebook page, I just put a comment there on the video stream. You can actually see the Facebook page of WCU.
Yeah. And LULAC also gives away scholarships. LULAC, of course, is has been existing for a really long time. But, it really just started and is fostered by a lot of Latinos in more so the business community than the university or than
just different
education
sure.
or anything like that. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about when the event is and where it's located and all the things.
It starts at 10 a.m. and it is in Rather Park, which is on the corner of 13th Street and University. We're really lucky because they put a new stage up there, so I don't have to haul the stage out of the storage unit. We need the big stage for Ballet Folklorico, which is the traditional dancing of Mexico. We have this year we have Sam Houston State's Ballet Folklorico coming. We also have the Ballet Folklorico of Huntsville. Mariachis from the university are coming as well. There's a mariachi group that started at the university because the population of Latinos at the university has grown incredibly as well. It's now considered a Hispanic serving institution, which means that over 25% of the enrollment is Latino.
That's great. We're showing the screen here. Dr. Petron again joining us. This event, it is Cinco de Mayo here in Huntsville, Texas, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Rather Park, just right down the road from us here. We're at 1201 University. It's just literally right down at the next corner, right downtown. Saturday, May the 6th. A lot of great folks helping to put this together as well.
Absolutely.
Including one of our Foundation 5 sponsors, Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home, State Farm, Nelson Amayas Collision, Walker County Federal Credit Union, Three Spoons. I know I'm leaving out some, but there are so many folks. The City of Huntsville, HEB, a lot of folks helping to make this possible.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I really want to give a shout out to the Huntsville Arts Commission. They have given us money every year to help us put on the event and to showcase some of the talent within the Latino community. So thank you, Huntsville Arts Commission. We write it kind of jointly between LULAC and Walker County Unidos. And, oh, goodness me.
Yeah, there's a lot. No, and you're giving us so much valuable information. There's
really a lot going on. I love it. I'm there the whole day. But this time I have to leave at 7 because the Selena impersonator is going to be at the Old Town Theater.
Yeah, that is going to be amazing.
It will be amazing. So,
you know, it's neat that you, again, Dr. Mary Petron joining us here this morning on Good Morning Huntsville. Thanks for being a part of this show today, Dr. Petron. I put the link to not only to WCU a little bit earlier, but also there is a Cinco de Mayo in Huntsville, Texas Facebook page. Make sure that you go there right now and like that page, and you can stay up to date with the events and see all the wonderful sponsors and all of that. I mean, such an incredible culture here in Huntsville. We talk about that so much on this show, and it's great to have this event.
And I live in Huntsville. You know, obviously I didn't come from Texas, but I live in Huntsville. I love Huntsville. My kids, you know, are growing up here, or grew up here. So it's all good. Like, I like the small town atmosphere, but then again, I have everything that I need.
Yeah, you got it. And sure enough, the only thing that I think is missing here, if anyone economic development listening in this morning, we need a Kohl's. That's just the only thing. I just want a Kohl's, even though it's like
you say Kohl's, some say Texas Roadhouse, others say Waffle House.
Yeah.
I was upset when JCPenney's closed.
Yeah, that's it though. Yeah.
That was really.
But it's all good. You know what? Actually, let me take that back. Just leave it the way it is. 30 minutes down the road to Conroe. That's not a big deal.
There you go.
We need a water park here. Drive more tourism. Then all those other things will come.
I think the other thing that I really appreciate is how supportive the business community is of, you know, just events in Huntsville in general, but also events that we have had in Walker County Unidos, because it really is a village that kind of comes together to fund this. When you mentioned the funeral home, they will be out there with a casket.
Oh, that's awesome.
Serving water.
That's right. I forgot Greg does that. They have the casket. They put the water bottle in it. Yeah, that's great.
The casket cooler.
When I went to talk to him about, you know, the donation and that, I said, is the casket going to be there? Because the casket has to be there.
It does. I'm putting the entertainment lineup on here too, Dr. Petron, with everyone that's going to be out there. There's even going to be a karaoke contest.
There is going to be a karaoke contest, yeah. Ricky from Wiesner, that's kind of his baby. He really loves karaoke, so, you know, we have prizes, and it's pretty wonderful.
Awesome.
Some singers are better than others, but, you know, it's all right.
Sometimes we need those, you know, not so good singers to make the really good singers sound even better.
That is true.
Look, I got to tell you something. I'm not a fan of look, I love all you folks. But if you're like a really, really talented singer, go on American Idol, try out for that or The Voice. Please don't do karaoke because it just makes guys like us who can't sing look so terrible.
Oh, no, they get a microphone.
Yeah.
We give them a microphone. The music is playing in the background, but they have to sing it all.
Yeah.
And
Do you turn the mic off or let it be on?
no, it's on.
Oh.
It's on. There's no lip syncing.
Yeah, this is the real deal. Come on, man.
This is the real deal. And
We
like
should do
last
an event
year-
about lip syncing.
Last year, it was really what was really interesting is we had. I think he was probably about 12 or 13, but his grito, his like yell. Yes, thank you. I'm not very good at it, so I won't do it. But his grito just like wowed the crowd. It was like you couldn't believe that voice was coming out of
that's
this
great.
child. Yeah.
It was fun. We used to do it my hometown where I grew up. We had a Mexican restaurant that was always a blast to go to. And they had mariachis come in on Thursdays, and so I was the only güero, white boy. They always said, "Here's the loco." They called me the loco güero when I would come in because they said I was the crazy white boy that would come in. But I would always do the gritos, and it was so much fun.
It is.
How's it go?
Is.
I'm not going to do it on
Oh,
air.
come on. I
And-
tried.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I tried
He's trying to get
him
me to
to
do
do
a
it.
gritos. I can't do it. We'll get Dr. Crimm to do it. She's shaking her
You're
head
not very
like,
good
no
either?
way.
Oh.
But it really is. I mean, the other thing that I like, because I work for the university, it's bringing also the university into local events because
that's
it
great.
oftentimes seems like this isolated institution. And there are professors that don't live here. I happen to be one that lives here, but we have the Ballet Folklorico of the university. We have mariachis that started at the university. So we're really fortunate to be able to bring that community here.
That's great.
And again, any scholarship money that we raise, LULAC and Walker County Unidos, goes directly to students in the area.
Yeah, it's resources going right back into our community.
Absolutely.
And that is so important. Again, Dr. Ann Petron joining us here to highlight the Cinco de Mayo event coming up May the 6th, just a day after, but it's going to be a great time for family and celebration right at the new stage, HLI class, Justin's class, helping to make that possible. And so we appreciate them doing that and already getting a lot of use out of that new stage. You mentioned LULAC as well. That's the League of United Latin American Citizens.
That is correct.
Partnering up with WCU, Walker County Unidos, helping to make that possible.
And help me out. LULAC was formed in like the 1920s, wasn't it? Yeah, here in Texas, actually. And it really was not fighting, but advocating for the rights of Latinos in the state, particularly in the area of education as well.
That's amazing. Well, I definitely know that they've been getting some practice and are preparing because even before we had the ribbon cutting, they were always out there dancing and practicing on that stage. So we were excited to see that happen.
And that stage is just a wonderful thing. So, thanks to the, I don't know, it was
HLI
chamber, I think.
Class 41.
Justin's being very humble. He was part of that class.
Oh, you were?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it is amazing. Because our
Justin's
stage,
I think my name's on a sign down there or something like that.
our stage was kind of,
Would you call that a stage? I would call that more of a platform.
Yes, it was a platform.
Okay. I'll call that a platform.
But the wonderful thing about this is that it is also so strong, and ours was kind of deteriorating a little bit, and we have the Chickawa dancers. They're out of the Conroe area. They're traditional. They do traditional Native indigenous dances, the Native Americans of
That's great.
of Mexico dances, and they're always here, but they dance barefoot. So when there's a lot of splinters around, it's not,
Yeah,
it's
not a good thing.
But it's on the program. I encourage everyone to go out and
Where could people find this information to share?
While flyers are going home, if your child is in the elementary or pre-K, I am, right after this, I'm going to be dropping off flyers at the schools. We have posters around, but also just the Facebook pages.
Mm-hmm.
And John Escobedo, who is the president of LULAC, did an interview, I believe, on KSAM. But we've been here for, this is our 12th year, I think. We had 2 years that we didn't because of COVID. But It's been great.
It's alive and well
It
here
is
in Huntsville,
alive
Texas.
and well.
So make sure I put the link there. Go to the Facebook page. You can find out more information as well. Cinco de Mayo in Huntsville, Texas, the Facebook page. The link is right there on the screen. And Dr. Petron, appreciate it. It's been a fun morning. It's such a pleasure getting to know you.
It has been a fun morning. Thank you.
And if you can leave a flyer with us, if you got one, I'll put one in the window here at our studio downtown. So.
Okay, I do. I do.
Right.
Yes.
So thank you so much.
You bet. Dr. Mary Petron, a wealth of knowledge and helping, giving back to our community, and just a great ambassador for Sam Houston State University. We appreciate you very much. We'll step aside. We'll take a break. We got a history lesson coming up, and it is always fun when Dr. Caroline Crimm is in the house. You don't want to miss this either, so stay tuned in. We'll be back on in about a minute and a half or so. This is Good Morning Huntsville, and we're broadcasting from our studio downtown, sponsored by Elliott's Jewelers.
Welcome to the Tomorrow's Promise Montessori School's Run With Your Imagination 5K Color Run, benefiting Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. Get ready to enjoy a colorful day filled with fun, bubbles, and music with our honorary color thrower, Dr. Scott Shepard, Superintendent of Huntsville ISD. We'd like to take a moment to thank our incredible sponsors for making this event possible. A big shout out to our title sponsor, Sprinter Level Elliott's Jewelers. Your generous support truly makes a difference. Our runner level sponsor, Tom Foolery, thank you for stepping up and supporting our cause. A huge thank you to our jogger level sponsors, Ace Hardware, DSW Construction, Snap Fitness, The Color Bar, Walker County Title, Wiesner, and Tap Truck Bonnie's Hideout. Your contributions keep us running. And last but not least, our Walker level sponsors, John Smither, Joe Smith, Keller Williams D.D. Dredke, Walker County Federal Credit Union, Learning RX, Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home, Precision Pest Control, Huntsville Rental Center, Historic Tours of Texas, Emblem Properties, Curves, Buddy Aber and Maureen McIntyre, and Buckner Watch and Jewelry Repair. Your dedication is appreciated by everyone involved. Remember, it's not too late to join us. Register online at runwithyourimaginationcom for a day full of color and excitement. See you on Saturday, April the 29th. Tomorrow's Promise Montessori Schools, maximizing your child's potential.
Hey friends, welcome back in. Good Morning Huntsville. We are live from beautiful downtown square. Some cloud covering. We had some rain last night, but things are rocking and rolling all as well as always here in Huntsville, Texas. I'm Rob Hipp as always, joined by our Thursday co-host from the Color Bar, Mr. Justin Killingsworth. Justin, before we bring on Dr. Crimm, she's patiently waiting. I'm ready for a history lesson, by the way. Plug the Color Bar, man. What's going on at the Color Bar?
You know, just doing hair.
Just doing hair. Just keeping it simple. Just doing hair. But, hey, for all that you need, website.
ColorBarTX.com.
Go to the ColorBarTX.com and schedule. You can book your appointments, and they do a great job. Justin and his staff are compassionate. They care about this community, and they give back. One reason why Justin's on this show and is one of our Foundation 5 sponsors. So let's support local business. We need to lift each other up and help each other. One of the ways that you can do it, Rob, I don't like to be around people. And that's okay. But you know what? One way you can help, you don't have to go and change a tire. You can go and support a local business, and that helps out as well. So
just a simple share, or, you asked what's going on, kind of blindsided me there, sorry. We do have some promotions at the salon with some select stylists and things like that. Obviously, retail promotions with our hair care line, when you spend money getting your hair fixed, you want to take care of it at home too. So
there you go. Well, speaking of just beauty and wonderful things, my goodness, every time this beautiful lady to my right and on the left of your screen, it's always opposite, walks into a building, it is just the greatest time ever. And Dr. Crimm, so great, Dr. Caroline Crimm, joining us this morning, making her debut here on Good Morning Huntsville. So great to have you.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah, well, you've been plugged in. I mean, you were at Sam Houston State for a while, retired, and now venturing off, having your own business. Before we dig into all that, I just want a background on you. How did you get to Sam Houston State? And we've got as much time as you want, Dr. Crimm, this morning. So just enlighten us, dig into a little bit about your history, and we'll talk more about Cinco de Mayo in a moment.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be with both of you. I'm so pleased that Rob is back in town. This is one of the pleasures of having Rob back, because he can be doing this program with us. And so I'm just so proud and pleased to have Rob back in town.
I appreciate that. Thank you. So you came over. Give us a background of kind of your history. How did you get to Sam Houston State? You've done a lot over your career, Dr. Crimm, and I don't know how because you're only 33 years old.
Right.
I wish. No, actually, I was born and raised in Mexico, which is why I am interested in the Latin American community in this area, and the fact that Sam has been growing all this time. I actually began teaching on the high school level in Florida, and then moved to Texas and started a wind generator company in Sweetwater, Texas. But when they went out of business, I actually had to learn to build barbed wire fences on the ranges of West Texas in January and February and March. So when they say there's nothing between Lubbock and the North Pole but a strand of barbed wire, I know I put it there. So.
I don't want to gloss over this, Dr. Crimm, because you go from a wind generating company to doing barbed wire fences.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, your story is incredible and your journey as well.
It was wonderful. But I did go back up to Texas Tech and got a master's degree in architectural preservation, which is why I love the cabins that we have on the Sam Houston Museum grounds. We used to have a cabin right here on the town square, and unhappily that cabin is now on the museum grounds. But my students, my blessed students, helped to move that cabin onto the town square, and then Mac Woodward was the one who saved the cabin. But after I finished my degree in architectural preservation, I was offered a scholarship at the University of Texas, and so I got my degree in Latin American history, and then I was offered a job here at SAM. So I was here at SAM for 20 years and finally retired, and now I have my own company, Historic Tours of Texas.
Yeah, I wanted to give you an opportunity, and we're going to have a history lesson on Cinco de Mayo in a minute, because I got to tell you, your storytelling is so phenomenal, and we want to hear all about Cinco de Mayo and just the history and how it started. For me, it's hard to comprehend how you can just all the information you have. I'll put it that way. You need to write about 50 books, Dr. Crimm, and I'm sure there's a few that are in the works. But you talk about Sam Houston State University, spent a lot of time there, doing a great job with the university, and then now an opportunity to start your own business, Historic Tours of Texas, and that's been going on for a while now. Wanted to give you a chance to plug Historic Tours of Texas.
Well, actually, Justin has been an inspiration because he is such a good businessman, and so I'm learning from all of the people here in town. Rhonda Ellisor at the Small Business Development Center for Sam Houston has helped a tremendous amount. But my Historic Tours of Texas, I have a party bus. Yes, it has a stripper pole.
Hold on, we don't want to gloss over this.
Justin knows.
This is the one thing. She has the party bus, and it's got a pole in the middle of it.
That's right.
It's a balance pole.
Yeah,
balance pole.
It's to hold yourself up when you're driving.
Yeah.
And Justin used it as a balance pole. But we do wine tours, we do history tours, and especially for people that are new to Huntsville. I want people that are new to Huntsville to come especially and take our tours on Sunday afternoons, or if you have a group of people that would like to do a tour of Huntsville, let me know, because I'll be happy to give them a tour and share the wonderful history of Huntsville. It has a long and varied history, and so this is something that I think everybody needs to learn. And even people that have been here for many, many, many years. Casey Spencer, who was born and raised here, learned things that he did not know about Huntsville. So this is one of the wonderful things about taking the Huntsville tour. Now, we also do have on Friday night and Saturday night at 7 o'clock, we also have the haunted Huntsville tours. And everybody says, oh, really? Are there haunted? Yes, absolutely. Everybody says that there's Ghost Charlie in the Old Town Theater. There is, as far as we know, ghosts in Smithers Bed and Breakfast. Certainly there are ghosts. They say that Margaret Lee comes back to haunt Sam Houston's grave. The Powell statue in the cemetery supposedly turns its hands down to protect the little Powell boy at midnight. and the police department actually put cameras on the statue to see if it did.
Wow.
And so they believe, evidently. So this is some of the many tours. Now, we are, of course, I also do lead tours to Mexico, and we have one going to Oaxaca. And if you've been to the pyramids in Egypt, if you go to the pyramids in Oaxaca, they're larger and more of them than in Egypt. So this is something that we tend to forget, that there are statues and monuments and all sorts of historic things all around us. And so it's just a case of jumping on the Joy-Mobile and come on down.
Speaking of Joy-Mobile, you also do customized tours wherever you want as well, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, last year we did a group to Natchez, Mississippi. They wanted to go see the Angels on the Bluff, so we did that. We have groups that want to go see Schulenburg, the beautiful painted churches in Schulenburg, so we do just whatever people are interested in doing. I love history, and I want to share history, and I want to share the bus.
Yeah, and it's a great bus. It's awesome, and you can see it. Congratulations, by the way, because before I'd moved, you were in the process of moving to a new office. You've got a beautiful office right down as you're coming in 30, right into the side of town. So let us know where you're located at, and how does the office kind of work?
Okay, we're at 1225 11th Street, and this is something that is right on practically on the town square. And so as you're coming into town, this is one of the places that you can stop, and we will give you a tour of Huntsville. So just stop in. We usually try to post our tours on the big sign out front, but we also use the office, since it is very spacious, thanks to Mac Woodward and the Gibbs brothers. We make this a place that is available for people who want to have meetings. LULAC has their meetings there, and certainly the Walker County Unidos for our meetings for the Cinco de Mayo. Always we met at my office, so it's comfortable, and I love having people there. It's wonderful.
It's great. Again, Dr. Caroline Crimm joining us here this morning on Good Morning Huntsville. We're broadcasting live from our studio downtown, sponsored by Elliott's Jewelers, also right next to the gallery, and our good friend Paul Oley for all of your photography and framing needs. Go by and see Paul. He's got a wealth of history. He loves history as well, and it's always great to talk to him and catch up. And we got a lot more on the show, though. I want to step aside, give us all a chance just to kind of regroup here for just a moment, because Dr. Crimm is about to unleash the wealth of knowledge of Cinco de Mayo, and it is a history lesson that you don't want to miss. And you don't have to pay for it this morning. Justin's paying for it. He's the sponsor. So Justin's paying for it this morning. But we'll step aside. We'll take a break. When we come back, a lot more as we continue our discussion here in a history lesson with Dr. Caroline Crimm. We'll be back in a moment. This is Good Morning Huntsville.
Welcome to the Tomorrow's Promise Montessori School's Run With Your Imagination 5K Color Run, benefiting Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. Get ready to enjoy a colorful day filled with fun, bubbles, and music with our honorary color thrower, Dr. Scott Shepard, Superintendent of Huntsville ISD. I'd like to take a moment to thank our incredible sponsors for making this event possible. A big shout out to our title sponsor, Sprinter Level Elliott's Jewelers. Your generous support truly makes a difference. Our runner level sponsor, Tom Foolery, thank you for stepping up and supporting our cause. A huge thank you to our jogger level sponsors, Ace Hardware, DSW Construction, Snap Fitness, The Color Bar, Walker County Title, Wiesner, and Tap Truck Bonnie's Hideout. Your contributions keep us running. And last but not least, our Walker level sponsors, John Smither, Joe Smith, Keller Williams D.D. Dredke, Walker County Federal Credit Union, Learning RX, Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home, Precision Pest Control, Huntsville Rental Center, Historic Tours of Texas, Emblem Properties, Curves, Buddy Aber and Maureen McIntyre, and Buckner Watch and Jewelry Repair. Your dedication is appreciated by everyone involved. Remember, it's not too late to join us. Register online at runwithyourimagination.com for a day full of color and excitement. See you on Saturday, April the 29th. Tomorrow's Promise Montessori Schools, maximizing your child's potential.
Hey, friends, welcome back. Doing a little Justin here. Always got those Justin. Hey, Justin Killingsworth next to me. A little Justin. That was corny. Sorry, Justin.
It's okay.
A little Justin going on this morning.
Just in case you forget.
Just in case you forget, Justin Killingsworth is our Thursday co-host sponsor, making this show possible along with our other 4 foundation sponsors. We appreciate them very much. Justin Killingsworth of the Color Bar. Go by and see him, and let's support local business. We're going to continue the discussion. Dr. Caroline Crimm is here with us this morning. Cinco de Mayo is in the air, coming up soon. A great opportunity, no matter your background, no matter even if you're outside of Huntsville, you got an opportunity to come by and be part of that great event happening on May the 6th at Rether Park starting at 10 a.m. Many folks out there, and you gave a Cinco de Mayo lesson one time, I believe, at Rotary, if I'm not mistaken. Wanted to share that with our audience this morning and just kind of indulge in some of your wonderful storytelling in the history of Cinco de Mayo. So get us started, Dr. Crimm.
All right.
Thanks for being here again.
Thank you. This is wonderful to be with both of you. You all are an inspiration.
You're an inspiration.
Absolutely. I will agree to that.
One of the things that I think is confusing to Americans is that Cinco de Mayo actually took place not during Mexican independence. And this is what confuses a lot of people. Everybody assumes that Mexican independence, when Father Hidalgo rang the bell in 1810, that was when Cinco de Mayo took place. It did not. Mexican independence began first an attempt in 1810 when Father Hidalgo tried, but that was not when Mexico became independent. It didn't become independent until almost 9 years later. In 1821 is when the conservatives, the centralist monarchists, the royalists, and the federalists, the liberals, if you will, became involved. They joined forces to separate from Spain. So Mexico's independence from Spain actually occurs in 1821. And of course, as far as Texans are concerned, that's when Stephen F. Austin comes to Texas to try to bring Americans to Texas, the Anglos. And remember, Anglos had to raise their little hand and say they were loyal to Mexico. And so from 1821, when Mexico finally became truly independent, then what happens is that Mexico, again, as we have happened in the United States, you have the periods when you have the conservatives in power, then you have the period when the liberals are in power, and the same thing happened in Mexico. For the first 4 years of Mexican independence, from 1821 to 24, we had an emperor, Emperor Agustín de Iturbide. And then after that, then we had a change to a liberal or federalist government. That was 1824 to 1834. And this is when Santa Anna, the one thing about Santa Anna was he was particularly flexible. He was willing to be a liberal. He was willing to be a conservative. He was willing to be a monarchist. As far as Santa Anna was concerned, whoever needed him the most. And so in 1832, he had actually allowed Americans in. By 1834, he had changed and become a conservative. But what the conservatives, or the royalists, if you will, what they had wanted was to take the power of the local areas away from them to sell their own land. And so this is why Texas was opposed in 1834. And so for the 2 years, from 34 to 36, Santa Anna had tried to control the sale of land in Texas. And that, of course, was critical to people coming into Texas. Remember, the reason that Americans wanted to come to now a Mexican state, is that they were offered a league and a labor, which, what the heck is a league and a labor? A league is 4,428 acres. And right here in Huntsville, Pleasant Gray was granted a league of 4,428 acres. Plus, you also had 177 acres for your farm down on the river. But in this case, Pleasant Gray, when he came here, he got this league and labor, which is 7 square miles.
Wow.
So when you stand here in the center of Huntsville and look around, you are looking at all of it, land that belonged to Pleasant Gray. And remember, he came from Huntsville, Alabama. which, by the way, if you're in Huntsville, make sure you, when you type in Huntsville in your search bar, you include TX, because
TX.
otherwise they're going to take you to Alabama.
I do want to ask you, as we're continuing to talk here this morning with Dr. Caroline Crimm, giving us an awesome history lesson on Cinco de Mayo. You know, you talk about a league and labor, and nowadays, you know, trying to get a 60 by 90 foot lot is almost impossible. I mean, we were giving away thousands of acres back then, giving them away to have people to move here.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. And that was to encourage people, which is why 30,000 Americans wrote GTT on their cabin walls in the rest of the southern parts of the United States, gone to Texas. And so they came to Texas, which is sort of what the Californians are doing now. They're writing GTT on their houses and coming to Texas.
What happened to gone fishing?
Yeah, what GF? GFITT, gone fishing in Texas.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right. But so Mexican independence from 1821 until 1836 had periods when they were liberal, periods when they were conservative. So, see, history doesn't change much. But in this case, by 1836, Texas does separate. And Mexico, again, goes through some periods when they shift back and forth. But the monarchists, by the 1850s, end of the 1850s, at the same time that the United States was going through its difficulties, because the United States, remember, when they acquired all of the western half of the United States after the Mexican-American War, the question was, is it going to be slave or is it going to be free? And so that, of course, is going to lead to the Civil War. At the same time, Mexico itself was also going through that same kind of trauma. Do we want liberal? Do we want federalists? Do we want monarchists? And there were many people, conservatives in Mexico, who wanted to have a monarch. And so they asked for a monarch. And at this point, Napoleon III was president or leader of France. And so he asked Maximilian and his beautiful wife Carlotta to come to Mexico. And Napoleon III sent his troops to Mexico, which was at this point struggling. Benito Juarez, the Lincoln of Mexico, had tried to establish a liberal or a federalist, if you will, government. And the monarchists brought in the French troops. The French troops, when they landed in Veracruz, the Mexican under Benito Juarez were very much opposed to having the French coming into Mexico. And so a man named Ignacio Zaragoza, General Zaragoza, was actually born in Goliad, born right here in Texas. And Ignacio Zaragoza leads a troop, and that troop is the one that is going to face off against the French forces at a town called Puebla in southeastern Mexico. And when those French troops came in, everybody was sure that the French were going to easily crush the Mexican troops because they were not as well trained as the people in France, of course, these massive troops the French had. But Ignacio Zaragoza and his men, his Mexican troops, were able on May 5th of 1863 to defeat the French forces. And so this was one of the reasons that everybody was stunned, because it did halt the French invasion of of Mexico. And so this movement into Mexico by the French, although it was paused at Puebla by Ignacio Zaragoza and the French were defeated, the French continued to pour troops in. And so finally, Maximilian and his beautiful wife Carlotta do come into Mexico City, and they can't understand why the people in Mexico are not cheering them. They thought that they were going to be welcomed by the people of Mexico because they were bringing what they thought was civilization to this country. And unhappily, Benito Juarez and the liberals opposed Maximilian. And so for 4 years, the United States, of course, was in the middle of its own civil war. And so the United States couldn't help with the battles of the Mexican troops against the French. Benito Juarez does finally manage to defeat Maximilian and the French troops. The beautiful Carlotta found out that her husband had been captured by the Mexican forces and was going to be executed. She fled to Europe and begged the Pope and begged Napoleon III to please save her husband. But unhappily, Napoleon did not come to the aid of Maximilian. And Maximilian and Miramon and Mejia, his 3 generals, were killed and shot by Benito Juarez. And so Mexico reverted to a liberal government. But the conservatives, of course, continued to retain some power. And so poor Carlotta, without help, without any support from anybody in Europe, she went crazy. And she actually lived until 1924 in a beautiful palace where she played with dolls on the Adriatic. So it was a sad situation. But the Cinco de Mayo then, the reason we celebrated is because it was a battle that was won by native forces. Ignacio de Zaragoza and his Mexican troops were able to defeat the French forces at the Battle of Puebla.
So that is the history of it. And I think there's a misconception, and correct me if I'm wrong, because a lot of times people think it's Mexican independence.
No,
and
that's
that
right.
is not right. Correct?
That's correct.
Because I hear that from everybody, like, oh, yeah, it's the Mexican independence. And I was like, that's not correct. And you're the first one. When I first met you, we were talking about Cinco de Mayo, and you're like, no, let me give you a history lesson on it. And so, which you just gave us one.
Yeah.
And beautiful, by the way, and sharing that and letting us know. Just incredible to think about these battles and times past and how it's really shaped not only our country, but other countries as well, Dr. Crimm.
Absolutely. Yeah, the United States would probably have come to Mexico's aid had they not been in the middle of their own civil war. So Benito Juarez, of course, brings the liberals back to power. But like the United States, Mexico then does switch back and forth again between liberals and conservatives over the years, and they continue to do so, just as we do.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I love the stories. Justin, I mean, have you had a history lesson from Dr. Crimm yet?
Yes, not on Cinco de Mayo, but many others.
Yeah, she does a fantastic job.
does.
Dr. Crimm, unbelievable story just to educate folks out there. And as we talked earlier with Dr. Petron about the event coming up, I mean, it's so important for communities to celebrate Cinco de Mayo. We want to embrace all cultures, because a community is not a community unless you have everyone involved, and a very important opportunity coming up, and looking forward to that event.
Well, it is fun. It's entertaining. It's a fun time for everybody, because we do get to celebrate, and I'm sure everybody gets to go to Mexican restaurants, so you might as well find out a little bit about Cinco de Mayo. Mexican independence, 1821. Cinco de Mayo, not until the 1860s, so 40 years later.
So don't say that it's Independence Cinco de Mayo, because that is incorrect, and Dr. Crimm will correct you, and she will give you a huge F on your paper whenever you are at Sam Houston State University. So, Dr. Crimm, so enjoyable. What's on the horizon for you? What's going on? You know, I know you talked about Historic Tours of Texas earlier. By the way, go to our website, historictoursoftexas.com. You can book online. But what's kind of next in your pipeline? What's going on in your world?
Well, we've got a wine tour this weekend, Saturday, so we get to take the Joy Mobile back to the wineries and get to use the balance pole.
There we go.
And then we're also going to be doing a tour to Oaxaca. I'm taking a group to Oaxaca. A lot of people go to Europe to Africa to see the pyramids. But actually, we believe that there was some contact between Egypt and Mesoamerica. And so we do have some amazing pyramids that we're going to be seeing at Mitla and Monte Alban. And, of course, you get to drink mezcal, and you get to have mole con pollo. So the Oaxaca trip is going to be May 29th through June 5th, and this is going to be a wonderful, wonderful tour. It's going to be your chance to actually get to see Mexico in safety, because I do make sure that you are safe at all times when we go to Mexico. So come join us, and this is one of the things that we love doing. Is I love sharing history. I love the hospitality of the bus. Now, we're not going to take the bus to Mexico, but we will have van transportation in Mexico.
Dr. Crimm, but your bus is more than just historic tours.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit more about like the wine tours.
Okay, the wine tours we have here in Huntsville. We have in the Walker County area. We have our own wineries now. We have 8 wineries that are part of the Sam Houston Wine Tour. And so the Sam Houston Wine Tour, at this point, Some of the wineries that we use, we go to the area of, first, of course, we do Tasha, which is named after the Texas Indians. They said that meant friend. And so we'll go to Tasha, and then we come back to Sam's Table. I want to make sure you eat because I don't want anybody getting too inebriated. So we bring you back to Sam's Table for lunch, and then we go to Golden Oak, which is down in New Waverly, and then we go out to West Sandy, which is another beautiful area. So, and then, of course, we can also do Bernhardt. We can also do a number of different wineries.
And custom tours as well. Somebody has an idea. I know that you put that as well together.
Yep, whatever people would like to do. As a matter of fact, I have a group going next month that they are going to be going down to a cruise, a water cruise, a lake cruise in Conroe.
Wow, that's awesome.
So, yep.
I was looking at those river cruises because I've always wanted to do that, and those commercials are always like, come with us on the Mississippi River, and it's just this majestic commercial and all this pageantry around the river cruise line. And then I'm like, oh, this is great. It's got to be cheaper than Carnival, and it's not.
It's not.
Very pricey.
They're very expensive.
Bridget and I won't be doing a river cruising. We'll go internal Carnival cruise inside the ship.
Well, actually,
we shouldn't be spending that much time in the room anyway.
We're thinking of doing tours on the Trinity.
Oh, that'd be
because
great.
Waco does tours on the Brazos.
Yeah.
We have a much better history on the Trinity River because the Trinity River, that was where people brought their cotton to the ports, and they picked up in Riverside, in Trinity, in all of the little towns along Dodge and Phelps, and so this is a tremendously historic river. So yeah, we want to do river cruises on the Trinity.
I can't
Is
wait.
the bus going on the river cruise?
Yeah,
we should.
You can just, what is it like on the game, the Oregon Trail? You like, what is it? You caulk your boat and your wagon, and then you float it across the river.
Float it across the river.
Yeah.
That's right.
So we'll figure out a way to caulk the the bus.
Joy-mobile.
The Joy-mobile and float it across the Trinity. I don't know if that would work though. So,
but we will definitely. We're looking forward to doing tours of the Trinity as well.
That'll be great. Well, Dr. Crimm, you are just an incredible wealth of knowledge. I'm always amazed at just how you told that whole history of Cinco de Mayo. It's all just imprinted and ingrained. And I've heard it before, but every time you tell a story, it feels new, and that's what I love. And, you had a really awesome Halloween tour that Bridget and I had the privilege of going on before little baby Braylon was born, and that was a lot of fun. And, by the way, I have to say this. She went from Dr. Crimm
to the Crimm Reaper.
To Dr. Crimm Reaper. So I remember it was a lot of fun.
The Crimm Reaper.
The Crimm Reaper.
Yes, we'll be doing Halloween tours again this year. 16. We'll be doing probably 4 a night every night for the Halloween weekend. So yeah, and that of course is part of the cemeteries. We get to see the cemeteries. We get to see a lot of the historical areas of Huntsville.
I didn't know, not to be morbid on the show this morning, but since we went down that path of Dr. Crimm Reaper, it's not close to October yet, but I didn't realize, you educated me, I didn't realize we had a body farm here. Sam Houston State, one of the few universities that has an actual body farm. And
that's right.
For forensics, I mean, unbelievable. It's right here outside of town.
Well, it's critically important.
As
a matter of fact, many of the people from the sheriff's department and from the police department and from other areas come to study, because this is an area where you can actually study forensic, and certainly Sam has one of the great forensic schools in the country. And the reason they have the body farm is because this way you can actually learn from seeing what has happened to bodies over time.
The decomposition.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the police
incredible.
Department uses it for their training.
So many things about Huntsville that maybe you didn't know, and I was educated on a lot of that just by getting to know I almost said Dr. Reaper, Dr. Crimm.
Dr. Crimm Reaper.
Yeah, Dr. Crimm.
The Crimm Reaper.
It's just great because she is a tremendous wealth of knowledge, and if you, even if you're not into history, Dr. Crimm you will become a fan of history whenever you share your stories, because you just enlighten. And I know in this setting it's a little bit different because we have a camera, but seeing you live, it is so awesome because you don't just stand there. You're walking around, you're engaging with the audience, and it makes it fun. So
Well, that's why I love sharing history, because people do love history. They love stories. And so if you can share stories, that's what history is.
I like what someone said one time: history, his story. So
that's right.
It's all about stories, and Dr. Crimm has a lot of them, and you can find out more historictoursofTexas.com. Beautiful website, by the way, And you can go on there and book a tour today and reserve your spot, pay, and be ready to go. And it's an opportunity for you and your family. I know that sometimes, you don't bring kids, obviously, on the wine tours, but there is opportunities for families, like at the Halloween tour.
Absolutely.
So
yes.
if you got little ones, Doctor, there are some opportunities for the kids to get involved.
For the summer, especially. Going down to Galveston and learning about Bernardo de Galvez and the Galveston story, that's fun for families. Take a bunch of kids down there. And the nice thing is the bus is so comfortable that the kids can move around, and so they don't have to feel like they're trapped.
Yeah, it really is comfortable. Dr. Crimm, such incredible to have you on today, just to hear your story about not only historic tours of Texas, but to share your knowledge about Cinco de Mayo. Again, that event happening at Ruther Park, May the 6th. Coming up pretty quick, so come on out, bring the family, 10 a.m., things get rolling. Great to have as well Dr. Petron on this morning. She's a colleague, I know, there at Sam Houston, and just more tremendous folks. I always want to lift up the university, too, because, she had talked about she felt like, sometimes things were distant, that Sam was kind of in its own little shell, but I don't feel like that's the case anymore. There's so much going on with Sam Houston State, and all the folks and faculty there do such a tremendous job. And, of course, Dr. White has been incredible being out in the public and just bringing a lot of awareness to things that are going on.
She absolutely is. Dr. White is great. She really cares about the community and wants to help provide that connection between the university and our community.
Well, that's why I want to share the history of Huntsville on the Joymobile with new faculty or new people to town, because they need to know what a wonderful history Huntsville has.
I do have to ask you, Dr. Crimm, do you still have an opportunity to ever go back from time to time and teach a class at Sam?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I did. The museum asked me to do one of their senior seminars. And so what I had them doing was Dutch oven cooking. And they actually
How awesome is that?
Learned to, and they made their own biscuits. They made biscuits, and then I gave them milk or cream, and they had to shake the little containers until they got butter. And so they had butter and biscuits and jam, honey, from this area.
Wow.
So
that is so exciting.
Fun.
And I was just thinking while you were chatting, too, we had Derek Birdsall, the museum director, here on a couple of weeks ago, and I'm sure that there's been opportunities for you to collaborate, like you just said, with them and so many other parts of the university.
He's part of my legacy. He and Mike Sproat, both of them are my grad students, and so I'm so proud of them and what they've done as director of the museum and as head of the curator of collections. Awesome. So the two men have just really done wonderful. I'm proud of them.
I just wanted to touch a little bit more on the university and providing connections to the community. The city is also trying to help provide that connection. They're actually proposing expanding the downtown area to actually touch and be included to the university, all down University Avenue. So that's super exciting through the new planning and zoning. Sorry.
Well, that's why the March to the Grave on March 2nd is so important, because that was done in the 1930s originally. And so they do march, and it used to be all the faculty and students with flags and everything would march down University Avenue all the way to the cemetery, to Sam Houston's grave, which is, of course, where you can be baptized as a new Texan.
See, I didn't know that. So what about old Texans that's never been baptized?
You can.
That too.
Your grandfather did. So, well, Dr. Crimm, before we let you go, again, appreciate your time here today. I always ask our guests, you've been in Huntsville for such a great time and met so many wonderful folks, and you've made such honestly, just a legacy and a lasting impact on this community for generations to come. What's really made Huntsville special for you? What do you really enjoy most about this community?
Oh, I like the people. Everybody is so wonderful, and the people that live here care about the community, like you all. Justin, of course, who grew up here, and you were born here.
I was born here.
You were born here.
He's native.
That's right.
Native
And that's the thing
Huntsvillian.
that's so wonderful about Huntsville is the fact that there are so many people that live here, were born here, or come back here, or come to Sam and stay. And that, I think, is just absolutely wonderful. And so it makes for a very unified community.
It does. Bridget and I were eating out last night. We went over to Olive Garden, and I mean, just handfuls of people were so nice and gracious that we didn't even know. And they were just saying, hello, how you doing? Thank you. And, one of them came up and said a comment about Braylon. Another girl held the door open. I mean, it's incredible to be in a community where people are so compassionate and caring. You're exactly right. I mean, every guest that we ask, we always ask them that question, and almost all answers are always the people.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
no one has said Old Sparky yet over at the Prison Museum. What makes Huntsville Old Sparky? So, no, it is great, though. Go out to the Prison Museum. We're going to have them on, too, and we're going to be able to highlight more things that are going on. Dr. Crimm, been such a great morning. I really, really appreciate you being here, and what a fascinating story just to enlighten us a little bit on the history of Cinco de Mayo.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, we'll
You
see
all
you.
are awesome.
We'll see you around at Rotary.
Absolutely.
So once again, Dr. Crimm here with us. Go check out our website, historictoursoftexas.com, and book your reservation today. We'll step aside. We'll take a break. Justin and I will close it out when we come back. Stay with us. This is Good Morning Huntsville.
Welcome to the Tomorrow's Promise Montessori School's Run With Your Imagination 5K Color Run, benefiting Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. Get ready to enjoy a colorful day filled with fun, bubbles, and music with our honorary color thrower, Dr. Scott Shepard, Superintendent of Huntsville ISD. I'd like to take a moment to thank our incredible sponsors for making this event possible. A big shout out to our title sponsor, Sprinter Level Elliott's Jewelers. Your generous support truly makes a difference. Our runner level sponsor, Tom Foolery, thank you for stepping up and supporting our cause. A huge thank you to our jogger level sponsors, Ace Hardware, DSW Construction, Snap Fitness, The Color Bar, Walker County Title, Wiesner, and Tap Truck Bonnie's Hideout. Your contributions keep us running. And last but not least, our Walker level sponsors, John Smither, Joe Smith, Keller Williams D.D. Dredke, Walker County Federal Credit Union, Learning RX, Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home, Precision Pest Control, Huntsville Rental Center, Historic Tours of Texas, Emblem Properties, Curves, Buddy Aber and Maureen McIntyre, and Buckner Watch and Jewelry Repair. Your dedication is appreciated by everyone involved. Remember, it's not too late to join us. Register online at runwithyourimagination.com for a day full of color and excitement. See you on Saturday, April the 29th. Tomorrow's Promise Montessori Schools, maximizing your child's potential.
Hey, friends, welcome back in as we wrap it up here on Good Morning Huntsville. Thanks for being a part of the show today. Justin, what a great history lesson by Dr. Crimm. Man, I love just listening to her stories, and she's very captivating. And if you ever get a chance to hear Dr. Crimm in person, please go on a tour. Go to her website, book a tour, historictoursoftexas.com. She is so much fun to be around. And I said it earlier, I don't know how her brain has got superpowers because she remembers every fine detail of the stories that she tells.
I swear, her brain is like a Rolodex. She can just and pull the card and just reread it. You know, she has so much education, and it doesn't matter what the topic is. And let me tell you, I have never asked her a question that she hasn't been able to answer. And I think if you did ask her, she'd be like, "Give me 1 minute. I'll find out."
And she'll find out, and she will. And again, it's been so much fun getting to know her. I was flipping through the phone here real quick because we've got more guests coming up. Of course, tomorrow we will be back on. Greg Smith of Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home joins us as our Friday co-host. We appreciate his support as well as one of our Foundation 5 along with Justin. Deanna Irwin is going to make an appearance back on the show. And
with the Peyton Irwin Foundation.
Peyton Irwin Foundation. She's going to give us a rundown of how the event went this year.
The Pineapple Run.
So she'll be back on tomorrow. We asked her kindly if she would be gracious enough to come back after the event. She said absolutely, and so we've given it a week or so to kind of settle down now that the event's over, and she's going to give us a rundown of how the event went and other things that are in the pipeline. So, again, it's all about community. Show's already starting to line up next week as we will have more guests on coming up the following week. I believe Shane is going to be on, our constable here. Will be talking with us hopefully sometime next week as well. We're going to have Tara from Hearts Veterans Museum coming on. So,
sweet.
And if you're a nonprofit and you'd like to be highlighted here on the show, we'd love to hear from you as well. Just send a comment. You can also email us hello@HuntsvilleTX.com. One last thing, Justin, wanted to remind you, if you've got events happening in the community, even if it's a business event, we don't charge businesses to post their events on the website. Nonprofits, you can post your event as well. Go to hellohuntsvilletx.com. There's an events tab at the top, and then if you roll your mouse over that or if you tap it on your phone, there is a link that says add your event. You can add your event, so help us out so we can get the word out to the community. We promote that heavily. And then also, on top of that, I know I'm yakking a lot here, but it's good information. is if you have an obituary, we want to honor your loved ones and the legacies that they have left behind. Thanks to our good friends at Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home, you can actually submit your obituaries completely free of charge on our website, and that's made possible, again, by Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home. There's some work that goes into the back of that, and so we needed that to be sponsored to be able to offer it free to people. We don't want to charge people to do it, so we found a sponsor. So already had a question like, why are you only showing funerals from Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home? So we're not showing them from them. He's the one that's sponsoring it. But any funeral home, they can submit them as well, and especially any individuals out there, if you'd like to honor your loved one, feel free to submit those obituaries, and we will highlight those. Our new newsletter rolls out tomorrow morning.
Yay.
So make sure you get on that as well. Go to the website, scroll down to the bottom, and sign up for our free newsletter. We're going to put that out every Friday, and it'll include things like the obituaries, new businesses in town, and all of the recent updates that we've had. So a lot going on. Justin, you've given me a million ideas, and that's not good for someone with ADD because now I've got to find a way to make them work.
Right. It's okay as long as you do better than you did the day before.
That's right. Every day we add one more layer. That's what my buddy back in Georgetown called it on our sports broadcasting. We always added layers, and it's like that 7-layer bean dip.
Yes.
One layer bean dip's not good.
No. I mean, it depends maybe with some Cheetos.
Yeah, but that's adding another I guess you're right. It's not another layer. So a lot of fun today, Justin. Appreciate you being here. And we've got some more things, again, lining up next week. Before we go, any final remarks from you, man?
I think there's going to be some congestion downtown this evening. There's a good event happening this evening. And, downtown we have the Wine Down Whiskey Up coming up on the May 13th. And so I think that's all that I know of right off the top of my head.
Yeah, so be careful if you're driving downtown. A business here is having kind of a soft opening, and that'll be exciting, and more details to come whenever they have their official grand opening. We'll highlight that on the show as well. Stay up to date with everything happening. HelloHuntsvilleTX.com. Justin, a lot of fun today, man. Before I let you go, even though it may be the same every week, what are you thankful for here in Huntsville, man?
The people, just the opportunity. The opportunity to be able to serve our community and be able to highlight different things. I was telling Rob, talking to you this morning about how, this is fun. I really thoroughly enjoy this. I love being able to highlight other members of our community and showcase them and get the word out to people,
That's what it's about, and we're going to continue to do that thanks to the fine folks such as Justin and several others. Emily O'Rear, the smile of Huntsville, as I've always called her. Appreciate you, Emily. We love you very much, and she is sending in a beautiful, it's a sunshine smiling. Perfect.
I love Emily and with CASA, so the work that they do over there is fantastic.
Absolutely. Well, that'll wrap it up today. A lot of fun. We'll be back on tomorrow, so make sure to join us bright and early as we close out the week on a Friday. And we will have Deanna Irwin, our good friend from the Peyton Irwin Foundation, joining us to give us some updates on how that event went. Justin, thank you for all that you do in the community, not just sponsoring this show. Some folks have said, hey, we really enjoy this show and appreciate what you're doing. It's not what I'm doing. It's what this community is doing.
Absolutely.
And we just wanted to use this platform to be able to bring it to you, not to help us out and to grow, our names. We want to grow this community's name.
Yeah, this is not about me. Yeah. This is about our community that we live in and that supports us, and we support them.
My goal is if somebody out there on the internet researches Huntsville, Texas, that one of these shows pops up and they say, we want to be a part of that community.
Yes.
And that's kind of the goal, is to embrace the culture, not to bring a new culture, maybe new ideas, that's okay, but we want to preserve the culture and highlight all the good that's happening here in Huntsville. Again, we love you all. We appreciate you joining us. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Make sure to tune in 7 a.m. and make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also hit that like and follow and share button as well as we continue to grow this platform to benefit our community. As I end every broadcast, reminding you this morning that we're not strong enough alone to make it on our own. We need each other, Huntsville. Provide a word of encouragement. Lend a hand of support. Somebody out there needs you. Until next time, good morning, Huntsville. God bless. We'll see you back Friday morning.